Hello Niverisi, and the sound and music is enabled, and this is a Protoss, me, against a Terran, Soel, in the top left, and this is a Grandmaster level Terran opponent, and the reason I have the pleasure, the fortune to play against him is because this is the test map, and somehow I've got my MMR quite high in the test matchmaking. So I'm going to be doing a bit of new unit abuse, basically. And what I've been doing against Terrans is I've been going for Stalkers very fast and trying to put pressure on. And you can see he's got a nice trophy here. I'm not sure exactly what it means. There's probably something about it which tells you which league it's from. And it's shiny gold, so it might be a Grandmasters like tournament. Don't know. Or it could be a Gold League tournament, but that seems a bit less likely somehow. So I'm moving out with my first probe quite quickly. And my idea here was that whenever I do these aggressions with the addition of the shield battery, quite recently, I'll send a probe out, and if I'm able to, I'll try and proxy a shield battery and try and shut down and expand from my opponent. This build does not require 2 gases, so fortunately enough he's going for a gas steal and I'm going to be able to kill that off. I'm being extremely annoying here, and in fact I've been able to kill that one off, which is a bad mistake already so far. Trying to home in on that, and I don't quite kill it, but I get out of there. And I managed to waste a few of his minerals on the repair and distract a couple SCVs from mining, which is all that's achieved so far. And you can see why I don't really need that second gas. I'm actually going to go for an expand straight away. And I'm a bit sloppy on my builds. Expands come in. I don't quite have enough money yet for the Stalkers, but I'm going to be doing that right away when I have the money. And I'm going to sink a chrono into it to get that out as quickly as possible once it's started. Very wise bunker going down there from my opponent. And I'm going to try and pressure that with Stalker, but it's going to be a lot harder now that that bunker's down. Saving, it makes me feel a bit better, because even if I'd got this on time, I feel like this bunker would be up in time for him. And he wouldn't have many Marines at that point though. So, probably could have done a lot more damage, possibly even a chance to run by the bunker if I had gotten there a bit early, so that's annoying. But yes, it would probably be finished. With my next 100 gas, I'm going straight for Robo, and I'm going to get a Zealot, because even though I don't really need the gas straight away, it's going to be annoying, and I really want that taken down as quickly as possible, that refinery. So now I can do some funky jazz. There's only one Marine in there, so I'm just going to micro back and forth and wear that bunker down. Now I probably could have, nice micro there, probably could have done a run by there and killed some workers because 3 Marines doesn't really kill 2 Stalkers, and I probably would have gotten a big advantage there, but I didn't really want to risk it. In hindsight, I think I know for future though, probably would be better going for a run by, because he was really low on units at this point. So that's probably just my inexperience, not my inexperience showing here. Probably missed out an opportunity to do more damage, but this is more guaranteed damage. Very unlikely to lose Stalkers just prodding like that. And I did get a free SCV, and I am seeing exactly what he's doing. Very difficult for him to move Marines and SCVs down this direction now. If I'm standing here, it's difficult for him to leave his base at all, really. Trying to get the odd Marine as it strays too close. Expansion coming in for him. He's going for mech, and he's going for a 1-1-1 here. For me, I have 2 gateways, and I'm going straight into Robotics Bay, adding in Forging on and Gateway now. This is a scary looking tank. That's going to completely shut down any sort of poking I'm doing here. Oh, it. Yep. Didn't want to fight anymore. I would have instantly lost those Stalkers with one more shot. Observer coming on out. Now I usually have my first observer close to my base in case of any sort of nasty Banshee horribleness, mine drops or whatever, and I usually have it scouting right at the front, so I'm alerted just before any sort of push moves in, so that I can prepare myself. 2 tanks is going to be very dangerous, and I think it's going to kill. That kills. How much damage does that do? 70. Pretty sure it's going to kill my stalkers in one shot. Not quite. Almost kills my stalkers in one shot. And in fact, because I've taken hull damage, I think it will. There we go. Yeah, that died straight away, which is sad. He's given up his barracks. I don't know if I've seen that barracks yet, but that would indicate to me straight away that he's going for a full-on mech here. 3 tanks so far. He's just going for a tank Viking, which is interesting. 3rd base coming in for me. Now that I know that he's going for mech, well, I didn't know for sure, but I did see several tanks. There is at least a mech component. I knew that he's going to have to do some sort of push, some slow push to me with the mech, so I went for a base. And I'm adding on disruptors. And what I really want to do now is just sort of force him back on his side of the map. So probably bring the disruptors to me sometime soon, bring the disruptors up, and use it to keep threatening the tanks, forcing them back. So spread out nicely here. Very difficult for me to attack up this direction now, and it's going to keep this area, this attack path safe while he expands to the north. Barracks also watching this attack path. Interestingly, Vikings are trying to shut down my Stalker, and that's not really going to work, even though Vikings do extra damage versus, I think it's mechanical. When they're landed, they do extra mechanical damage. Or it might just be armoured, I'm not sure. It definitely used to be anti-mechanical damage. So I'm going very gateway unit light here. I think I have as many disruptors as I have gateway units. Yep, as many disruptors as gateway units. I have 2 stalkers, a zealot, and 3 disruptors. And the reason behind this is he hasn't got stim, and there isn't going to be any way for him to easily catch up to my disruptors. I can just keep being annoying with them. Unnecessarily wasted a stalker there, which is a shame. Funnily enough, even if he tries to drop and kill these, because of the way the disruptors have worked now, I can instantly kill the units which have been sent to kill the disruptors. That was a bad play. Oh dear. And I do it again, which is unfortunate, of course. But I do see exactly what's going on now. I can keep pushing him back. As long as I keep poking and threatening him, it sort of forces him to stay where he is. Of course, he now instantly has a chance to move out, but he's not taking that chance. And I see exactly where he's taking his bases. Big cloud of Vikings there. And I'm adding on some gateway units, just a few. And I think that's the reason behind that, is I just want to try and snipe these Vikings as they fly past. And I might get a chance if I'm lucky here. Nope. And I'm just going to walk past, which is fine. I saw these depots were undefended, so I'm going to try and just kill off those. There's not huge amounts of damage potential here, but I'm going to at least keep the pressure on. That was the whole idea of the movements I'm making here. And I do have the option to recall out, mass recall out. And I think you'll find, if I can click on it, I can't click on my hotkey groups, but if I was able to, I think you'd find that I've incorrectly hotkeyed. I don't have 8 nexuses. I've incorrectly hotkeyed my nexuses, so I'm struggling to chrono boost now. And I think I eventually correct that and I start chrono boosting again, which is why I've got a very high amount of energy left over. And I successfully shut down those depots, and I'm just going mad of expanding now. Trying to keep one base ahead at all times. Producing only tech units. I've got 3 robos here, adding on immortals. I'm just going to have a small, just very beefy army. And I'm just trying to save money as much as I can, cutting loads of corners, because I'm not really going to be attacked in the near future. As long as I keep up in his face. High Templar added on now. Storms can be very useful. Storms are good against all races. Very important. I'm working down all these rocks. And now at the moment I have the most mobile army, so I'm just going to try and work down all the rocks that I can. Try and get a chance to snipe these Vikings if I can, but I'm not going to get it. pathing might be fucking me over here. You can see the way the morsels are waddling, they've been pathed wrong. Hopefully I notice. Nope, doesn't look like I'm noticing. And I'm sending them home now. That's good. Could have been a lot worse than that. Okay, I've also added on Dark Templar. I'm just adding on shit tons of tech now. I have such a small army. If you look, sorry about that jump there. That's because I accidentally did the super zoom out, and I went back, and I couldn't fix it, and I just had to quickly look that up. But yes, now I'm moving into the middle of the map, posturing to deny both of these bases, and I should be sending units back here to deny these as well. I'm just trying to deny all the bases I can. And he's very much centered on in this base. He's still got tanks and rocks here protecting this attack path. Using disruptors to help me gun this down as soon as possible. Moving in, quickly realizing I can't do much here. I sent some storms in, losing units very quickly there from the tank fire. I knew when to get out, which was straight away. And his tanks, very well placed, almost killing that, almost leaving it on 3 health. This is a godsend, this tank for him. His production is very much really fast. He's already on 3-3. I've been producing upgrades off just the one forge, but I'm also producing upgrades off my cybernetics core. I'm adding on air upgrades because that is my next check of choice. 4 stargates have gone down, and now the fleet beacon as well. 4 stargates because I've got a lot of bases and I'm not really producing any units, and I can afford pretty much anything I want. You see how this small army is keeping him back, and how he could easily go for a strong push down to this base at this point. He's being super cautious, and I think I know the reason why, and that's because he's adding on the super late game tech air units now, and I would have thought this is going to be Ravens, Vikings, battle cruisers. So he's playing super late game focused, and this is the whole point of what he's going for here, and he thinks that if he plays super passive and slowly here and gets into his super late game army, he's going to be able to win no problem. This is the attack force that I said about before, that I should have been sending when I said about it earlier. But luckily enough, this timing was really good because he happened to be constructing a base at that time, so I got some free worker kills. Working on a very good army here. 4 carriers at a time, still adding on immortals. It's just immortals, carriers, and high Templar coming at here. This is just all of the extremely powerful, cost-efficient units I'm producing. Staying around a bit too long there. I probably thought with the excessive firepower I had, and I did have a hell of a lot of firepower, that I'd be able to cannon my way through all this building before the Liberators did too much damage. But unfortunately I lost a Immortal and I think a Disruptor as well there, which wasn't ideal. But I did kill a tank at least, which is a consolation prize. And I have a lot of Immortals. Should I have a look at the number of units? Is that you for Immortals? Let's look at the Immortals. I have 8 Immortals, which is quite a few. And working on another one. 3 carriers coming on in addition to these 3 which are already finished. And I am completely maxed out at this point. And so is my opponent almost. He's very close to being maxed out. But a clear advantage in bases has gone to me at the moment. He's on 4 compared to my 5. And I have so many bases here that, that I'm giving up my probes because I'm maxed out. I'm giving up my probes because I'm maxed out and I have lots of bases so I can quickly rebuild them. And I stayed around way too long there. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. That wasn't very good at all. Obviously hoping to try and get some units. Get some good cost efficiency out of this army. But I didn't. And there wasn't a very good angle to engage. Probably should have knocked down these rocks first. That was a bit of a blunder there. But it did achieve the ultimate gain. The ultimate aim of that movement, which was to waste army. Ideally more cost efficiently, but to waste army to get some carriers out. So now I'm at 183 instead of 200, and I'm adding on way more carriers. A very strong army from my opponent here, instantly evaporating my immortals, which isn't very nice. But he's struggling to take a a 5th base. This base is being shut down. He's moving in here, but I have 2 DTs right here as well. And here come the carriers. Not entirely sure if this is the first time he's seen the carriers. You'd have thought that he'd know about the carriers earlier than this, but here they come on in, and they did Shrek. They did indeed Shrek his siege tank count, but the Vikings and Thors in their anti-air unit mode have been shutting this down very harshly. This is probably a situation where this mode, which I found out a few seconds ago, a few minutes ago, will come in useful, and you can see a hell of a lot of chaos going on here. He overextended a lot though. That fight went very well for him. He had a very good counter to the carriers there and was trading very efficiently, but he strayed too far with his Vikings and he lost those pretty much needlessly. And he's still been on 5 bases. 4 bases. Is it four bases? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he's still been on 4 bases most of this. He has settled into this base up here, luckily though. But I'm way ahead. I've already added on this extra base, and I've already been able to get to the point where I can trade away my workers and just focus on gas, and I am making a hell of a lot more carriers. He does have the advantage though temporarily that his income is a lot better than mine. Or it should be anyway. Let's have a look. Workers on there, he's got workers on here, workers oversaturated here. Okay, he doesn't have too many more workers than me. So it seems fairly even now. The only advantage being this base is a hell of a lot faster than him, and I'm getting a lot better gas income. And I'm spending my money a lot better as well. He probably doesn't have quite enough army producing structures, doesn't have quite enough production here. And a big movement here coming down from my opponent. Completely out of position to deal with this attack. And he's with a very zealous attack. He's going to be able to shut down some bases. But I've completely cleaned out this area. Trading interceptors for no reason really. But I do want to keep this army together so he doesn't go in and snipe my carriers without protection. A big more warping of DTs are cleaning up this army and trading very, very cost efficiently. Killing off Thors very handily. But he does kill the base, and probably quite a few probes along with it as well. But he's only killed 1 base, and I've killed this, which is a very important fresh base for him. And this one's getting fairly mined out. Carriers come in to join. And gets cleaned up very, very handily. Army value after that, heavily favouring me. But it's going to be very difficult for me to push into a meching player. So I'm going to have to be careful here, not to get overconfident. Very wise keeping units up here to keep preventing more expansions, and I'm sending a DC down to prevent retaking of that base. And here comes another ship. So army looking quite ridiculous, though he is now catching up. Freed up a lot of supply there with that attack. Heavily defended base. Turrets are very useful against the carriers here, so it's very wise that he's putting that, putting extra turrets into his defense. Not a good timing here. So he's gone down to try and harass my corner pocket expansion, but he's been intercepted quite a bit. I'm going to have to make sure I free up supply to defend from his attacks, from his harassment attempts. Big attack here with battle cruisers. Harassment down here doing quite a bit of damage. He's killing a few workers, but not horrendous damage. But I do need to keep walking units down there, or if I leave it go unchecked, I'm going to start losing bases. And I got to kill a few battle cruisers there, which is a big deal actually, because they're usually quite difficult to kill because of their tactical jump ability. Master Cannon does almost instantaneously annihilate a set of my carriers when I start to engage. So I need to think very carefully about where I'm going to engage for the rest of the game. and still trying to shut these down with DTs and a handful of zealots. Still haven't finished my upgrades completely, but the main thing here is that I do have +3 weapons on my interceptors, and the damage output of my carriers is going to be absolutely absurd. I have the most important upgrades, shields, and +3 air weapons. It'd be very nice to have ground weapons as well, but it's not contributing a huge amount really. The main thing is definitely the interceptors. Look how quickly that dies. The armies are getting so large. I really need to keep using this feature to see what's going on. Glad I found out about that a few minutes ago. And here we go. Big fight's going to happen now. Probably going to tactical jump away. No, straight in. Surrounding me now, which is probably a good choice. And now he's spamming on those, master cannons, and that's why. Interesting choice. Yeah, he gets very clean hits on the master cannons there, and absolutely wiping the floor of my army here. The army value is going to switch places quite a bit here. Evened up quite a lot, and the only reason it isn't like it's just a complete slaughter for him is I do have more units back at home warping in and producing. He's following home. He's got a whole 9 battle cruisers remaining, and I cannot deal with that. In fact, even with this addition I'm adding on here, this still isn't enough, but I'm going to try and fight it apparently. He's running away. He doesn't really have to. I guess he's being cautious. Meanwhile, he's harassing my bottom pocket expansion. I've been making sure that I've added on cannons down there, but this is where most of the fight's happening, so I'll focus on that later. Tactical jumps into the fight. Tactical jump is an incredible ability, which takes away all of my defender's advantage, because he can instantly warp in new battle cruisers directly into the army. Down here I took quite a bit of damage, lost all the workers here, and I've been making DTs and cannons to help defend it, but I'm going to have to keep replacing my workers now, after I threw them all away. I have to start replacing workers now. But I just need to keep a low unit count when it comes to workers. 46 is actually more than I expected I had. So, even though I thought I had a very low worker count here, I actually had more than my opponent. But he does have mules, to be fair. I said he has mules, but unfortunately, it looks like he only has 3 orbital commands, which isn't that many, so he probably doesn't have that many mules, to be fair. Additional carriers coming in. Unit-wise, we have only 2 carriers on the field. I'm very low on units here, but I'm still posturing to do more aggression. I just can't give him any room to take more expansions, or he's going to come back into the game. Mining bases-wise, he has 1, 2. Only 2 mining bases, whereas I have 1, 2, and 3. So I have a clear advantage in economy, and I've had a clear advantage in economy most of the game. Have I added on extra upgrades? No, still. Ignoring that a bit. Hilariously still don't have +1 armor. And he's attacking both locations at the same time. 3 Hellions pack quite a punch, 25 versus light. And in Hellbat form, they're very scary. So I'm having to warp in little squads of units here. Had a few excess minerals, luckily, so I could use some zealots to help fend them off. But it only killed one of those Hellions. Using a DT. I have very limited resources here, so I'm having to use 1 DT to defend both locations, which prevents me from using hold position to prevent him from landing the command center. But I do see it straight away, so I could shut it down. And that's a nice kill. That is a nice kill. That was one of the command centers he has here, so he's down to only 2 orbital commands. DT is so valuable here for helping me defend. Very difficult to focus on all the action at the same time, so just having a DT around... Oh, nice wall there. I forgot I did that. Killing for High Templar with that Hellbat, with that Hellion. And some workers. He's very good for his harassment. You can see the skill coming in. If you look at APM here, average of 242 APM here from this guy. DPS being quite strong here, and I know I've learnt from last time, backing out of the way so he can't get those dream Yamasa cannon shots. he doesn't actually have many scans because of the way he's used up his orbital commands. So he had to use lots of Amato cannon shots on the mothership core instead of the carriers, which gave me lots of time to deal lots of damage to my opponent. Now Tempest, because I've seen that he has a majority fast cruiser army, Tempest is going to do huge amounts of damage. 52 per shot? No, 67 per shot, wow. At a range of 15. Tempests are absolutely terrifying for a battlecruiser army. I have a small squad of units here. I keep having to warp in Zealots to help fend off Hellbat and Hellion aggression, so I'm just sending them to my opponent and just gonna fight here. Just gonna intercept his attacks as they come. They don't do much good against the Hellbats, but still, I might as well have the Zealots doing something. He's away with his battlecruisers, so I moved in and cleared out that base. There wasn't really any sort of contention there. He knows he has a smaller army at this point. Army-wise, yeah, I'm quite a bit ahead. So he didn't really have the ability to hold that base, and he's not going to be able to hold this one either, is he? All this! That's his last... He's only got one more orbital command. He's keeping up the aggression. It's definitely worth doing these attacks. Gas is really what he wants here for his battlecruisers, and I think he would have a reasonable amount of excess minerals. But not anymore. I'm just starving him dry now. He has no mining bases. This is the only base that he has left, and I'm quickly moving in on that. Would love to send another DT up here, but can't have everything. 5 Tempests, and just against battlecruisers, this is going to be devastating. Another nice attack coming in from him. He's not let up with this aggression. If we look at workers killed, I think it would be absolutely monstrous. What? Oh, nice. He has killed a lot of workers. 80 of them, and he hasn't actually directly killed many of the bases. That's, I would say, at least 60 worker kills have gone down from Hellion aggression at this point, Hellion harassment, because he only like really destroyed one base from a push. It's very impressive. Very smart movement there. I can talk for quite a while about the decisions he made here with his engagement. Unfortunately, I just have too much. He definitely controlled his army better than me here, but I just have too much stuff. Yes. Tactical jumping behind my army meant that if I was to run away, I would run into the path of the missiles which had been launched. And that's the last of his army. And we're done. Hope you enjoyed that game. That was quite a long drawn out one, almost half an hour of gameplay. And yes, I hope you enjoyed it. We got to demonstrate the battlecruiser and the Tempest quite a lot here, and unfortunately not any use of the shield battery in sight. But I'm sure the quantity of the game, the quantity of game, and the quality of game here made up for it. So yeah, I hope you liked that. I'll see you later. Goodbye.